Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Eddie Marcus. Once again, this is a new day and I'm thinking about you. And so I'm contemplating why is it that you can be offered your dreams, your prayers, an explanation of how they can be true, the role that you play, and the faith that is needed, and the benefit of it. I mean, it's a dream for real. And yet it is being so resisted. I'm thinking of why, I've been engaged in this process for years and years, and the foundation is based really upon that which you say you believe in, and the power for it to exist keeps escaping. And I contemplate what is it that allows us, and I just came out of it, and I haven't been really focusing on judging really, and at least to the degree of speaking. But I had to ask myself, why is it that faith seems to be such a deficit? And I'm reminded of the truth, and the truth, my friends, even when we talk about how much we love God, and truly based upon understanding and the limitations which we have set for ourselves, we really do love God. But do we really love God to the standards that have been set by God? And to that degree, and I have to say that we don't. We want to believe that we do, but we don't. You see, when you walk out of the darkness, you can really see into the dark, having come into the light. And what used to be so normal, what used to be so real, all of a sudden seems so fake and oppressive, because now you have access to the understanding of freedom, and you can see the bondage right in its midst. And you just have to, by truth, by reality, be the light and shine in on that darkness, not just by highlighting it and pointing it out, but at the same time giving an explanation of why, because it's kind of good to know why you've been screwed. But not even limited to that, but show you the way out. And this is what being in the light will allow you to do. But for the most part, people that's in the dark think they are in the light. And because they think they're in the light, and they want to stay, they want to maintain, because they don't know the truth. They don't know light. So they want to do whatever they can. And so, having no faith in the light, they have to do everything for themselves as far as protection. Now, the thing that determines whether it is a proper thing to do or not is the extent that you will go to in order to have your way. In order to have your way, the extent that the limits that you set. Now, in the light, there is faith beyond measure, because everything else has worked, whether anyone else see it or not. But in the darkness, you won't make that step. You just won't make that step. Why? Because the most important thing to you is life. And anyone that steps into the light, that tries to shine back into darkness, will automatically be terminated. You will be killed. That is the way that darkness protects itself, by turning off the light any way it possibly can. So if you walk into the light and start acting like you're in the light, people start seeing the light, be drawn to the light, they're gonna kill you. But that is an ultimate sign This, my friend, is an ultimate sign that you have inherited life, everlasting life. Now, I would like to be able to explain it to you in such a way that it would make some sense, but I can't do that. You have to be there. You have to be in that. You have to be that in order to understand that. And so rather than confuse you any further in that regard, I'll just say that the truth of the matter is that people don't want to yield out to God because they haven't come into the light and they don't want to die. If you come into the light, you don't even worry about it anymore. You're in the light. But having been denied that benefit, your number one concern is survival. And there are those amongst you that will, for the sake of power, will do anything to keep you in line. Anything. And the ultimate thing they would do to keep you in line so they can stay in power is to kill you. That's the way of men. Some people say the way of devils. Some people say the way of the men behind the curtain. Some people say the way of Satan. But anyway, it's the way away from life. And so when you step into the light and your faith, see, some people try to step into the light, got no faith. They kill. They're the ones that the darkness don't have to worry about anything. No. See, they themselves are still afraid to die. They don't want to die. And that's what the light is for. The light is, let me give it to you this way and then I'm going to close it out. You have heard all kinds of things about how good God is in relationship to mercy and forgiving you for all the things that you've done that's wrong. You've heard that. Nobody practices that. Very few people do. But you've heard it. Have you ever heard what it's like to be free? Have you ever heard, help me now, what it's like to walk according to the dictates, not of the group, especially when the group is wrong? And what do I mean by wrong? When the group is walking in a way that causes pain and suffering to others just to have their way. In order for the love of God to be experienced in that, understanding and compassion enough for that in regards to all its contacts, considers all options that peace may avail, prosperity may avail. So people say, well, this is why you had, back in the 60s, you had this movement, civil rights movement, and they had a leader. I don't know how he got to be the leader except what I read, but it had something to do with spirit. And people trusted it, had faith in it, what he was saying, and they went forward. And those champions of darkness said he had to go. And they killed him. Now he was set free. He was set free in freedom. If there is a heaven anywhere else, if Jesus is in heaven, then so is Dr. Martin Luther King. If Jesus is in heaven, then so is Gandhi. If Jesus is in heaven, so are many, many, many other people that I don't know anything about. But let me ask you, if these men are in heaven, and when you die, do you deserve to be in that same heaven with them? Think about this for a second. Do you deserve to be in that heaven with them? I know you know you don't. But if you don't deserve to be in that heaven with them, why not? Why don't you deserve to be there? Is it because you couldn't see and you faltered along the way? The answer to that question is yes. Why? Because in order for you to see, you got to go through the training. You got to go through the development. It's not magic unless you deeply in love. Otherwise, you got to go through all of this to learn. Because if you don't, you remember the story about the angels in heaven? How this strange happening occurred where going to and fro over heaven trying to convince them that there was a better way that he could come up. He had a better way than God himself. Whoa. Than God himself. Now here's the problem. This son gave the credit to himself. He gave the credit to himself. He knew of a better way that would benefit even the angels. And Jesus, on the other hand, gave all the credit to his Father. He gave all the credit to God. You see the difference in the walk? Well, I'm going to stop there. I just wanted to share with you, as I thought about it, the reason that God does not get the representation that is required, that you do not get the representation that is required for you to experience peace, for you to experience freedom and prosperity and the joy of life and the fulfillment of your dreams. You haven't gotten there yet. You have not gotten there yet. And it is laid right before you, and based upon where your thinking is, where your mind is, you reject what you pray for every night, every day. You pray that you can have the requirements for survival, that you can have those essentials necessary for a measure of life. You pray for that. You pray that your dreams can kind of just lift his head up a little bit. And here it is before you. I've shared it with you, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't gotten it here, go back and check out some of those other videos. It seems I'm just constantly repeating myself. That's all I'm doing. Trying to see if that didn't get you, maybe this will. But it's nothing but repetition. And I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, the truth is made available before you. Yes, there is a God, a spirit you cannot see, you can't touch, you can't feel. But the fact that you are here and you know it is evidence enough that there is a God, especially since you had nothing to do with it. And you got nothing to do with your getting out of here. And you don't want to get out of here. So there is. Now, look at everything, how it hangs together, how the growth of the plants and the lives of the insects and the fish and the animals and all this kind of, look how harmoniously it works. You see how it works? You see how the grass grows, how the cattle feed. You see how you, the people, are able to. All of that is a representation of this God. Now, when you come to these turmoils, you know, like the storms and hurricanes, you see what they do? They come to destroy. Wow. They wipe stuff out. They pick stuff up and take it other places. They turn some of the heaviest stuff upside down. That's a storm. And when you see people going at odds with each other, lying to each other, taking advantage of each other, putting each other down, going terroristically at one another, and then even engaging in war with one another. That's a storm. It's a storm in life. And that comes from ignorance. That comes from a lack of the knowledge of God. So, I guess I'm back on God again. I think I'll just stop right there. I can't get away from it, but I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, that you empower the world. Whether you're in Russia, China, North Korea, Philippines, and any place on earth, wherever you are as an organization, a society of people, the people empower that government. That government is nothing without you. And if you don't like that government, all you got to do is change your mind. And I guarantee you, when you change your mind, your government will change. Plain and simple. So I'm saying, if you want to empower the darkness, you also have to empower the light. You don't just walk into the light and everything is done. You got to empower. I'm telling you what those who have walked into the light really know. And I'm saying this for those of you who are thinking that you're in the light, but you don't have the workings of those that's in the light. You're not engaging yourself into its wattage. You are not of the light. You're just into the light. But the whole purpose is to get you to be of the light. And what I mean by get you, by opening up your eyes so you can see clearer than you did yesterday. We don't get to a point now we see everything. This is God, and God is constantly taking us places we've never been before. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know I kind of entertained you for a moment. I hope that I said something that would benefit you. I just want to let you know that we understand that you don't want to die. And the king of darkness knows that. And he got that over your head. He'll let you take all kind of limits just to suggest to the rest of everybody that he's legitimate, that he's A-OK. And as long as you fall within those guidelines, it appears all is A-OK. But the moment you start revealing and giving explanations and sharing the light, and people listen, you dead. That's what they promised you. You're dead. And so, to stay alive, you reject God. To stay alive, you reject God. And yet the message to all of you is this: until you accept God, you haven't lived. Until you accept God, you haven't lived. I think I'll end on that note. Until you accept God, you haven't lived. Until you accept God, you haven't lived. All right. Talk to you later.